What's up, you guys? How we're doing? Oh my God, I have not been in front of the camera for at least probably over a year now. I've been so busy, you guys, but good busy. But guess what? I'm back. I got a new camera, okay? Because the last one I smashed it by accident, and I sold it, and it was a whole thing, okay? So she's got a new camera. She's got a new background. Actually, this is my bedroom, but I'll be shooting in my office, but I was filming something today, something special, which I'm very excited to tell you about, guys, but not just yet, not just yet. Okay, so I wanted to take this moment to have a little chat with you guys about acceptance and the power of acceptance. This is something that actually came to me today while I was teaching a meditation class, and I've had an interesting week, you know. I've had a lot of rage coming in lately. Now, I, weirdly enough, don't want to have kids. I genuinely do not want to have kids. I think maybe as a woman, there's a part of me that is programmed to think that. But my husband and I decided that we don't want to have children. And for some reason, I was triggered. I was triggered recently where a family member got pregnant, and I was mostly triggered not because I wanted to have a baby, but because I felt left out. I felt like I'm gonna be put in the back burner, like I don't have anything to give anymore, that I don't have any value. And again, guys, this is all subconscious stuff. It took me a while to process it. So I was sitting there and I was like, why am I feeling this way? You know, nothing against the other person. I was very happy for them, genuinely happy and excited, because I know this is something that they really, really wanted, as somebody that I care about very much. But you cannot help but, number one, to compare, and number two, to have that moment of, you know, you only got one shot, and if you don't go with this, essentially you might regret it, or all the things that you hear people saying about not wanting to have kids. But again, if I go back to thinking about my list as to the reasons why I don't want to have children, I always remind myself that this is genuinely not for me, and not at least in this lifetime. I just don't have the calling for it. And again, there are many, many reasons why I don't want to have children, but the point of this essentially is that I'm trying to get to is the trigger. I had a very intense emotional trigger where I felt that I suddenly had no value, and that I suddenly will possibly be pushed aside because other people are going to become more important and they're going to grow and we're not. And it brought up all these emotions and all these things, which essentially, when I was really looking into it, it had to do with my childhood, because I always felt like an outcast. I never felt like I fit in anywhere. And it just essentially reaffirmed these fears and these insecurities that are inside me. And they all came to the surface. And how they showed up is me being angry at my husband out of nowhere, and I went into a rage fit for about 2 days, and that rage turned into me remodeling my entire house and cleaning my house beautifully, by the way, which actually, I gotta say, I gotta get angry more often, because it really, like, things that had been sitting there for months that I needed to get to got done in 2 days. So again, I also want to remind you a little bit here about anger. Anger can be such a powerful tool for transformation and change, because it's a motivator. It's much, much better than depression or hopelessness, because in hopelessness and depression, you're kind of like stuck there. You know, you don't want to do anything. Well, as anger is like, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to destroy everything. I'm like, ah! And the downside, of course, to anger is that it can be very destructive, right? You can hurt somebody, you can hurt yourself if you're not careful. I, of course, was lashing out at my husband by not speaking to him for 2 days and giving him the cold shoulder because I wanted him to talk to me about it, and he had no idea what was going on top of everything else. But fun times. But long story short, I was going around this whole thing, and eventually I sat with myself. I was like, what is this teaching me? What is going on here? What is the core of it? And when I really came down to it, is that I was not in acceptance. There was a part of me that, even though I know I don't want to have kids, there was still a part of me that had not fully accepted my choice, my decision, because I always left a slight gap open for the possibility of it. More, by the way, out of fear than actual, like, yeah, that's the right thing. It's more like this little gap that is always left open. Like I said, it encompasses all of these fears and insecurities that I've been holding as a woman. And when I really sat with it today, I had that epiphany, that moment that freed me from all of this. And it's acceptance of my choice, acceptance of my decisions, acceptance of the consequences. And I think this can leak into many other things, much, much deeper things than what I'm going through right now. And I know there's a lot of women out there or people who are going through something similar or thought a bit of it. But what I've learned over time essentially is that acceptance, when we really accept something for what it is, we then have choice. But as long as we don't fully accept something, we are confused, we are indecisive, and our power is essentially taken away because we feel victim to something that is out of our hands, out of our control. These things are happening to me, and well, just because they're having kids doesn't mean that it devalues me, and that doesn't really matter. When I accept my choice, I reclaim my power, I reclaim my decision, and from here I can move forward. But if I don't accept my choice, I cannot move forward. I am stuck in the same situation, in the same conversation, in the same loop. And so I had a calling to do a video about this because I had a feeling that somebody out there needed to hear this, that they needed to accept something. Now, there are things, of course, that really can be difficult to accept, such as a physical illness. I do a lot of readings online where I have so many clients who really struggle with chronic pain and all kinds of issues. And oftentimes I find that this is something very difficult, of course, to accept because you are a victim to it. That is not your fault. You are in a situation where this is happening to you. However, what can you accept about it? And from there, what can you change? I'll give you an example. I have one friend who has severe nerve problems. She's actually right now been having like a frozen shoulder, which has been debilitating for her. Absolutely crippling and debilitating. Some days she can't even get out of bed from how painful it is. And she's been struggling. Of course she's been struggling, but she's not new to pain. She's had fibromyalgia before, which is still there underneath the surface. She healed herself from it, but she's no stranger to suffering to physical pain. And when we did a session together, essentially what came up for me, what I realized, and I told her this, I was like, you obviously have a really big lesson, a really, really big life lesson around the body and the suffering of the body. So this means to me that you are no stranger to pain. Essentially, it's like this is something that you've been dealing with pretty much your whole life. Now, when we keep fighting something, when we keep rejecting something, we essentially fall victim to it, which again, I'm not taking away the fact that somebody isn't a victim to it. But if you look at stories of people who have chronic pain and still get out of bed, still achieve incredible things, still get out there and do the impossible, the only difference between them and somebody else, in my opinion here, is essentially is that they've accepted their condition and they work with it despite and in spite of it. And somebody who's still fighting it, who won't accept it, allows it essentially to have control over you. And then you feel debilitated. Then you allow the pain to take over. And then you allow yourself to just be that thing. But you're so much more than that. You're so much more than your pain. You're so much more than your lack of finances. You're so much more than your weight, than your age. But if we do not accept it, it's hard to move on from there. So she had this aha moment, and essentially we came up with this whole new thing, and I could see the shift in her that happened, and she started she's like, yeah, you're right, I'm not new to this. And so once she accepted the situation, there were other things, of course, going on with her that maybe reflected even what was going on for her. She, the next day, took charge of her life and went and did all of these things that she wasn't gonna do before because she was so focused on the pain and the situation and the suffering and the blocks that she didn't realize that, okay, this is what I'm working with. What can I do with it? So once she saw that, she took charge and she just took off. And already her whole week has completely transformed. Her whole path has completely transformed. So what I'm saying here is, guys, look at a situation where you're having a hard time to accept. Somebody betrayed you. Your job sucks. I mean, we've all known that one. You're unhappy in some kind of situation in your life. You're getting old. You're getting fat. I don't know what your thing is. So when you accept it and go, all right, I accept it. I see it. I'm being honest with myself. This is my situation. Now what? And from there, what do you decide to do? Where do you want to go? What steps are you going to choose to start taking to make that change? And for me, when I was looking at this situation with the family and this whole thing with the kid and my anger, first and foremost, I had to take accountability because I was like, I'm just dumping it on my husband. And he doesn't have, bless him, as most men do. They're not always great with emotions. So I decided to, number one, accept that we're not having kids, and this, whatever people are doing on the outside, it's not going to change the outcome. And so by accepting this, I created a whole new vision for my future where I knew that essentially having a kid could actually get in the way of this vision. And so it motivated me even more not to want to have kids. And again, if this is your thing, by the way, guys, this is not a judgment on people having kids or not having kids. You do you. If your calling is to be a mother, which by the way, it's the most beautiful thing in the world, go for it. Go for it. But if it's not, go for it. There's no right or wrong here. It's just what's right for you in this moment. So from here, I felt a sense of freedom. I felt suddenly that my vision had opened up and I could see a whole new path that I couldn't see before. And now I can take actionable steps with this new frequency, this new energy, this new vision for myself, this new, this new embodiment of self. Maybe we're getting too deep now, but you get the gist. So I just wanted to share this thought with you guys today. Hopefully it resonates, hopefully it helps, but acceptance is essentially a tool that will help you to move forward. So as long as you're in conflict within yourself, within your mind, within your decisions, you're always going to end up in that limbo. You're always going to go back and forth, up and down, and never feel like you're moving anywhere. But the minute we accept something, then we can start making the changes towards something new. So I encourage you today to find what that is and begin that new journey, start moving forward wherever that is, because I don't find being stuck being fun. I don't know. I don't enjoy it. All right, guys. So I wanted to take a quick minute, by the way, guys, to interrupt this video to let you know, guys, that my Oracle deck is here. The Realms Oracle deck has finally arrived. She is here. She is gorgeous. Honestly, guys, I've worked so hard on this. As you can see, it's absolutely stunning. And I just wanted to encourage you to have a look. Beautiful gold. And look at these images, you guys. Absolutely stunning. So I just wanted to take a moment to let you guys know that this is available. So you can find it on my website or the link below. So go and check it out. All right, guys, so just a little thought of the day, just to share something with you. I'm going to make a lot more effort, by the way, on being back on the channel, maybe doing more readings. You leave a comment below and let me know what you're interested in. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to ask below. I always read your comments, and I'm always interested to know what you want to see. That's what I'm here for. All right, guys, that's it for today, and I will talk to you. Let me try that one again. All right, guys, that's it for today, and I will talk to you soon. Have a magical day. Bye-bye.